In this lesson, I will explain to you the concepts of measure of central tendency, and learning objectives are summarize data using measures of central tendency such as mean, median, mode, mid-range and weighted average. We have learned about the data in lesson number 1, how to summarize the data. In statistics, actually we summarize the data. Initially, when we receive the data, usually it is in the raw form, but we have to arrange the data or summarize the data. So we arrange the data or summarize the data using measures of central tendency, which includes mean, median, mode, mid-range and weighted mean. Here I will explain to you what is the meaning of central tendency. Measures of average, right? Average. The focus is on the word average. The Suppose you have listened the average word many times. Examples are: the average height of a woman is 5 feet and 3 inches. The average marks are 80% or 90%. The average speed in the school zone is 30 kilometers per hour, right? This is the average. So when we measure the average, these are called the measures of central tendency. And the tools or instrument which we use to calculate or to measure the central tendency, these are mean, median, mode, mid-range and weighted mean. And we will discuss one by one. This is our first lesson. In first lesson we will learn about mean, in second lesson we will learn about median and so on, right? So the topic is measures of central tendency. Measures of average are called the measure of central tendency. Keep in mind, measures of average, when we measure the average, is called the measure of central tendency, and these are the instrument or tools you can say. Before going to start mean, I will explain to you two terms. One is the statistic and other is the parameter. What is the difference? Right? I told you in lesson number 1 about sample and population. Suppose if you have 100 students in your class and you are going to take the survey or you are going to do the teacher's evaluation, and you are considering each and every student, 100 students are participating in the survey, so this is called the population. Each and every student has equal opportunity to participate. 100 students are participating. You can take the example of a census. When the countries do census, they count each and every person. That is called the population. And sample, suppose out of 100 students, you may pick randomly, suppose 20 students or 25 students. Maybe you can pick according to your own choice. Maybe you pick through draw or whatever method you will use. So this is called the sample, right? So if we take the data values from the sample, it is called the statistic. If we take all the data values for the specific population, right, it's called the parameter. So this is the difference. A statistic is a characteristic or measure obtained by using the data values from a sample, while the parameter is a characteristic or measure obtained by using all the data values. See, all the data values for the specific population. So here we will discuss the formula for the mean. See, mean, if you want to calculate the mean of a sample, I told you sample and population. If you want to calculate the mean of a sample, then you have to use x bar. This is called x bar. And this is the Roman letter x, right? So you know that in Roman we write 1, 2 like this, 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6 and so on, and 10 represents x. So for sample mean, you have to write down x bar equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3 x4 and so on till xn. divided by n. So this is the difference. And this is for the population mean, you have to use the symbol mu. For a sample mean, you have to use the symbol x bar, and for the population mean, you have to use the symbol which is called mu, right? And this is the n. For sample, we will use small n. For population, because each and every person or everything is included in population, that is why it is capital N. So here I will read it. The mean is the quotient of the sum of the values. Sum of the values. First you have to sum, and then and the total number of values. The symbol x bar is used for sample mean. This is x bar. Roman letters are used for statistics, right? Statistics, I told you in the last slide that if we take the data values from the sample, it is called the statistic. So Roman letter, this is Roman. For statistics, you can use the Roman letter. But for the population or parameter, in parameter, we use all the data values from the population. Then this is the Greek letter mu. For parameter, Greek letter mu you have to use. For statistics, Roman letter X. For a population, the Greek letter mu is used for the mean. Greek letters are used for the parameter, right? Okay, now suppose this is the example. The phone calls that the fire department responded to for a sample of 7. See, in this case, sample. This is not the population. You have to calculate the mean, and I told you the formula of mean in the last slide. One more time I will show you this one, right? X bar is equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3. x1, x2, these are the data values. So these are the phone calls. Suppose this is January, February, March, April, May till July. They have received these calls, and this is the sample. So what is the formula? X, because this is sample, so we will use x bar mean, right, for the sample, equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3 till x7, because we have 7 months, 7 these data values divided by n. So you have to add it, 500 plus 650 plus 750, all this divided by 7 small n. Why 7? Because we have 7 months. So the total is 4145 divided by 7. So the mean is 592.14 calls. See, in this month they have received 500, then 650, then so on. In this month they have received 330, but the mean or average is the 592 calls per month. This is the measure of central tendency through mean, and the mean is in most cases is not the actual data value. What does it mean? See, 592 is not the actual data value. You have 500 calls, 650 like this. So mean is not an actual data value. You have to add and divide it by total number of months or whatever is the your n is, right? So this is the mean. Now in this example, we have individual data for 1 month. This is for 1 month, this is for next month, this is for next month. In the next slide, suppose if you have a group data, and group data we have discussed in chapter number 1 as well. Here I am explaining again. If you have a group data, then how you will calculate the mean, right? So this is the group data. Below is the frequency distribution of books read per week. Suppose you have 33 or 34 students, right? So we can make a group. Instead of writing 3 and then 4 and then 5, all the number of students, suppose these are the roll numbers or students, whatever you can consider it, we can make the class and boundaries. So this class is, the first class is from 4 to 8. And how you will make the boundaries? We have discussed in lesson number 1. You have to subtract 0.5. So when we will subtract 0.5, it will be 3.5. Here you have to add 0.5, so 8.5. So next is from 9. This class is from 9 to 13. 9 to 13. So class boundary is 0.5 minus from 9, it will be 8.5, and then add here it will be 13.5. So if you have a group data, then you have to write down the boundaries. And then you have assigned the frequency, that this group has read 5 books, this group has read 6 books, right? This is also available in the data in the question, so it will be very easy for you. But total number of books are 27. Out of 27, this group has read this group has read this group has read 4 books, and so on. Then in third column, you have to make the midpoint, which is represented by xm, midpoint. So how you will make the midpoint? This 3.5, I will show you. First is, suppose, sorry, this is point 3.5 plus 8.5 and then divided by 2. So you will get 6. 8.5, how much? 9, 11, 12 by 2. Similarly, this plus this divided by 2, 11. Similarly, 13.5 plus 18.5 divided by 2 is 16. You have to find out the midpoint. Midpoint of what? Midpoint of this class boundaries, this one. And the next column, you have to multiply xm and this frequency, or you can write down frequency first or xm, both are okay, like this, right? If your data is in the group, so you have to make a table, right? This is the procedure, how to calculate the mean of a group data. First, you have to make a table. In the A group, you have to assign the class boundaries. In second, you have to make for the frequency. Third, you have to take the midpoint of the class boundaries. In fourth D column, you have to multiply F second and third column, and summation of F dot xm is 477. And then what is the formula? X bar, right? This is the mean of the sample of a group data. X bar is equal to summation of F dot xm, which is 477, divided by n, total number of books. So total number of books are 27. So when we divide, so 17.66 books per week. So in this lesson, you have learned how to summarize our data using measure of central tendency, and we have used our first tool, that is mean. Suppose this, see how big our data is, how big, right? But we have organized or summarized this data like this, 17.66. If you still have any question regarding the mean, you can write down in the comment section. I will try my best to solve it. Please do not forget to subscribe my channel, Sci My Academy. Thanks for watching.